What you just heard are not myths. They are echoes, fragments recovered from black box recorders, police dash cams, and private transmissions intercepted before deletion. Each sound corresponds to an incident logged within the NightHowl Files, a sequence of events that blur the line between predator and prey, legend and evidence. Tonight, we unseal a restricted cluster of incident reports involving two of the oldest apex species in the nocturnal hierarchy. The first, the lupin strain, known to civilians as Dogmen, terrestrial shapeshifters bound to territorial hunting rights, older than the lunar calendar itself. The second, the Primarch lineage, what modern folklore names Sasquatch, silent giants of deep woodland genesis, guardians of lost thresholds between the human world and what existed before us. These testimonies come from witnesses who should not have survived. Each account was verified through recovered field recordings, blood residue analysis, and encrypted transmissions never meant to surface. What they reveal is not a rivalry of myth, but a territorial war, something ancient that broke to the surface one dreadful night in the northern wildlands. At the NightHowl Archives, we preserve what others erase. We do not speculate. We record. We remember. Before we begin, subscribe to NightHowl Files and activate notifications. What we reveal tonight is not fiction. It is testimony. And you will want to know what hunts at the edges of modern civilization when the trees begin to move. Case File NHF 147, The Ridgeway Incident. Location, Ridgeway Forest, Northern Michigan. Date, November 3rd, 1994. Witness, Deputy Marshal Ian Holbrook, age 36. His initial report described a territorial disturbance between two unidentified humanoid entities. Ridgeway Forest was a restricted tract of government land near an abandoned radar station. Locals called it Dead Hill because even wolves avoided it. Holbrook was responding to a missing hiker complaint from the nearby township of Gray Pine. Holbrook's dashcam captured something standing in the middle of a dirt road at 2:17 a.m. The figure was bent low, elongated arms dragging the ground. When headlights struck its skin, its eyes reflected a deep amber, not red like a deer's, but burning. The deputy exited the vehicle, radioing dispatch. Then the signal distorted. Blood-curdled screams echoed from the tree line. Not human, and not one creature, too. Later inspection found claw marks on his cruiser roof. Some gouges were wider than a man's hand. Others narrow, deliberate, canine. The forest floor bore two distinct sets of prints, one ending at the tree line, the other continuing upright deep into the brush. For 6 days, search teams found strange signs. Crushed saplings forming a circular clearing, a splatter of animal blood, and evidence of massive bipedal movement. Each night, the teams reported hearing rhythmic breath patterns, as though two predators were stalking opposite flanks. Hunters from Gray Pine told our field agent a local legend. The Dogman claims the ridges. The tall one guards the ravine. The two species do not share hunting grounds. Something had crossed that boundary. At 3:12 a.m. on the 6th night, infrared cameras captured the confrontation. The Dogman, nearly 7 feet, lean, digitigrade stance, stalked into the ravine. Opposing it stood a hulking form over 9 feet tall, hair matted with wet soil, chest heaving like a bellows. They circled, no sound but breath and the faint tremor of earth beneath their feet. Then a single roar ruptured the air, a hybrid of wolf and human wail. The recording ended as both silhouettes crashed together, blurring into one chaotic shimmer. Trees broke, soil erupted. When our retrieval operatives arrived at dawn, the ravine was empty, yet the mud bore deep impressions of 2 bodies, locked in combat. Deputy Holbrook's cruiser was found 15 miles away, half buried in reeds. His body never recovered. The trees in the ravine still do not grow evenly. Flora scientists registered abnormal electromagnetic readings around the scarred ground. Official records classify the killings as fatal wildlife intervention. Local authorities sealed the area permanently. The file has been marked sealed under lunar protocol. Both entities remain unconfirmed. Yet every November since, hunters report echoes of violent howls splitting the Ridgeway Valley. 2 voices, calling and answering, never overlapping. Case File NHF 148. The Black Creek Footage. Location: Black Creek Reserve, Alberta, Canada. Date: February 9, 2011. Primary evidence: VHS tape retrieved from a collapsed ranger station after an avalanche. The footage was discovered by civilian snowmobilers. It contained 90 minutes of static intercut with fragments of motion, limbs, snow, unrecognized tracks. When cleaned and digitized, our technicians confirmed the presence of 2 distinct silhouettes within the same frame, one lupin, one massive and upright. Ranger Evelyn Carr was recording nocturnal ecosystem patterns. Her log mentioned predator tracks too large to belong to wolves. On the second evening, she noted something unusual. Smaller wolves had gone silent, birds vacated the forest, and something heavy breathed near the north wall of the ranger cabin. Carr's notes became frantic. She documented a repeating sound, a guttural thump followed by arboreal snapping. She described a bigger one shadowing the first. Her voice began carrying tremors. "It's hunting, but not me. Something else." Infrared timestamps revealed 2 heat signatures circling the same coordinates from opposite directions. One crouching low, the other towering and slow. The camera's audio captured a dialogue between growl and grunt, communication or warning. Timestamp 2:47 a.m. The camera jerks violently, hitting the floor as the cabin trembles. The second camera outside captures flashes. Claws slashing, a massive arm swinging. Snowfall ripped upward by force, not wind. Then silence. Frames show for samples. Black and silver intertwined, burning faintly blue in residual thermal contrast. As the snow settles, an immense shadow drags something into the timberline. The remains of Ranger Carr were never found. Months later, analysts observed at the site a stone covered in lesions resembling claw carvings. The words, "not English," appeared in ancient Algonquin shapes referring to the guardians of the threshold. Government agencies denied the authenticity of the footage, citing equipment malfunction due to frost. The Order's internal codex labeled it a cross-species territorial breach, the only recorded one north of the Montana Divide. We at NightHowl believe the Dogman was the aggressor, the Sasquatch the guardian. Their conflict signifies more than survival. It marks a boundary enforcement older than recorded time. The site remains spiritually radioactive, forbidden under Arctic Surveillance Code 145A. Case File NHF 149. The Arkwright Barn Encounter. Location: Arkwright Farmstead, Tennessee. Date: May 26, 2022. Witness: Molly Dent, 52, retired schoolteacher. She reported to local authorities that her livestock were slaughtered but uneaten. The carcasses bore marks of being clawed, then lifted, dragged into treetops. Investigators found skeletal remains arranged in symmetrical circles, as though placed ritualistically. Ms. Dent recalled hearing two different cries outside the barn, one deep and resonant, another guttural and sharp. She claimed the sky felt heavier. The insects stopped chirping, and her floodlights flickered. A known symptom of residual energy surged from nearby entities. 3 rural teens filming a cryptid chase video uploaded partial footage later removed by federal request. Frame 345 showed a towering, furred silhouette standing in the barn doorway, breathing fog into night air. Seconds later, another shape lunged from the darkness. Smaller, sinewy, wolfish, light catching on its fangs like metal. Screams. A crash. Then the barn collapsed inward as though something had exploded without flame. All 3 teens survived but refused interviews. Each exhibited night terrors and olfactory hallucinations of wet fur and copper. We recovered fragments of audio from a hidden field transmitter placed by a local order observer. The feed contains breath patterns, low growls, and finally, a single thunderous roar fading into metallic rattle. Minutes later, silence. Autopsy of the cattle revealed punctures consistent with dual feeding mechanisms. Concave suction wounds alongside depth gouges matching canine dentition. The soil tested for hemoglobin showed 2 DNA blends, partially human, wholly unclassified. Ms. Dent moved away 6 days later. The barn foundation caught fungal overgrowth that glowed faintly silver beneath moonlight, luminescent spores that defied known biology. County records list the damage as lightning impact. Yet the weather that night was calm. Investigators sealed the property. The nearby forest edge remains eerily silent. Even owls refuse it. All evidence archived under Rural Blood Conflict Beta Type. Entity activity status: unresolved. The Arkwright Zone remains under spectral observation. Should seismic monitors register abnormal vibration, contingency extraction is advised. The war may not be over. But the forests of North America are not the only stage for this ancient rivalry. Across the Atlantic, in the deep folds of the Carpathian foothills, the hunt takes another form, one whispered in medieval parchment and sealed under crimson wax. These case files, Ridgeway Forest, Black Creek Reserve, and Arkwright Farmstead confirm what humanity has long chosen to forget. The night is not empty. It is governed by rules older than any kingdom, older than the first howl, or the first step cast in moonlight. Dogmen, Sasquatch, bloodlines that never cross without consequence. Every recorded collision carries a lesson. The lines between species blur, but innocence never survives when the moon compels hunger. In every region, under every protocol, the Order unearths the same evidence. Clawed ground, vanished witnesses, riddles written in bone and shadow. Some entities carve their dominion with violence, others with silence, but none of their wars leave the world unchanged. We at NightHowl Files have witnessed authorities mislabel these truths as wild animal attacks, equipment failures, or the desperate delusions of the lost. Yet our archives do not accept denial. Every testimony, every sealed protocol, every fragment passed down is a warning. If you walk beyond the lamplight, you walk beneath their law. If you, the listener, have encountered something which belongs in our records, submit your account in the comments below. The Order reviews all testimonies, and some are chosen for deeper investigation. Subscribe to NightHowl Files. Activate notifications. This is not folklore. This is your final line of defense. Keep your lanterns close. The shadows move quickly, and the next name inscribed in these archives may be yours. This has been a declassified transmission from the NightHowl Files. Until the next moon rises, stay awake, stay wary, and never walk alone.